So apparently being a fence sitter means something completely different now. I always just thought it was someone who didn't make a decision based on what side benefited them the most. So if there is something being discussed, they would just kind of kick back and see, which side they wanted to pick depending on the leverage that they had, whether it be socially or, whatever else. But apparently now, it means anyone who takes time in order to come to their own conclusion, whether it be their own research or listening to both sides of, whatever idea is being discussed. Because God forbid you take more than a millisecond to come to a conclusion about something, instead of just arbitrarily picking something based on an impulse or emotion on whatever is being discussed. Because apparently the mindset nowadays is to almost be reading from a script. So if you don't pick something quick, they'll immediately bombard you with awful stuff. Like they'll just start calling you terrible things, like they'll call you a faggot, or they'll call you a Nazi, or, your dog is a whore, or your refrigerator makes you look fat, just start screaming crazy shit at you. Because at the end of the day, for them, it's not necessarily what's wrong or what's right, it's who's wrong and who's right. Whatever is being discussed and the nuances that come in between that is completely out the window for them. Because they've picked a side, and if you're not on their side, you're against their side, which I never understood how that worked. I'm back. My roommate got upset that I hypothetically called myself a faggot. I'm just like, I can be what I want to be. You don't know me. But one key thing people forget nowadays is, why should I care? Like, not even necessarily about the idea or discussion that they have on their mind or any of that. It's just, why should I care to explain myself to them? Like, people forget you're under no obligation to ever have to explain yourself or even listen to someone else. Like, that's completely voluntary. If you choose to do it, then it's perfectly fine. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. But usually it's not even them accepting that. It's them bypassing it and talking at you, not to you, which I think is a big key difference nowadays. Most people forget that communication is a back and forth thing. They can't just hear a trigger word or something and then just immediately firebomb with this scripted ChatGPT essay that they had saved up just for this occasion, to where someone said something that triggered them, which all they had to do was just, divert their eyes for a millisecond. The internet is vast. You could click a button and be in a totally different world. But they don't want to be in that world that's shared with everyone else. They want to be in the world where they're allowed to be mad at someone because who knows? And guess what? I'm under no obligation to care at all. Like, sorry. And it seems like people are going back into a more primal, tribalistic point of view. Bigger numbers, more people mean better things, and whatever like that. And at that point, they really don't care about the initial cause or even explaining it to you effectively. It pretty much just comes down to whatever means necessary to get someone on your side, regardless of what they actually believe. And especially nowadays as well, we tend to take things at face value a little too easily, even though we forget people can just lie and tell us what we want to hear. Like, that happens all the time. And it's something to keep in mind as well, is these same people that'll go on these diatribes and rants seemingly out of nowhere are probably very insecure, maybe about their intelligence or their social status and all kinds of other things. So even if they become over-invested and they find out that whatever side they're vouching for is wrong, they'll just double down. Because if anyone knows anything, doubling down and being stubborn seems to do a lot more for you these days. Like, for some reason, people respect that. Other than being like, yeah, I was a fucking idiot. I kind of changed my stance on that because of this, and come to a logical conclusion about things, and being reasonable. So yeah, those same people are probably so used to losing. No matter what they do in their life, they don't even really care. If they believe themselves to be right or winners, that's all that matters to them. They just need a win somewhere, really. So to a lot of these people, all getting more people involved in their cause means is more people means more power and more influence, which is all a lot of these people care about in the first place, let's be honest. Because they feel weak and insecure, so if they get their numbers up, then it makes them feel more powerful by default. And I think that's another reason why people no longer understand the difference between a discussion and a debate. A discussion is when you're just having that, gathering data, ideas from multiple sides, right? A debate is when all that data is processed and you have a couple of sides trying to formulate or figure out exactly which one is the most efficient or morally correct idea, right? But that's why when you look around, all you really see are debates, because in a discussion, there is no winner or loser, right? You're trying to come to a general understanding of what all the parties involved agree with, right? But a debate, there is a winner or a loser, so I think more people are wanting to have a debate because a discussion is just empty in their eyes. They're like, what's the point in me putting an effort into an idea or a cause if I'm not going to win? So I think that kind of coincides with the whole they just want to be a winner thing. And of course, there are a variety of nuanced reasons on how and why people end up like this. It doesn't help that we have a loneliness epidemic, self-imposed brainwashing where they just want to engage what they want to engage with, on top of being part of a society that it feels like no matter what you do, you're doomed to fail anyways, right? So I guess after a while, they find a little bit of solace in kind of finding their own little group of people. Allegedly their group of people, right? Everyone's so dishonest on purpose nowadays. They'll play dumb even though they know better because they know it benefits them in some way, shape, or form. At least they think it does, right? So they just invest in that and kind of hope for the best. So remember, if you ever feel like you're being pressured by one of these sides being crazy, and trying to hustle you and make you come to a decision that you don't feel comfortable with, dude, just remember, be yourself, come to your own conclusions that you thought of yourself, and just stay pleasant and stay logical. That's really all you have to do. If you're a decent person to be around and talk to, at the end of the day, that's all anyone could really ask for, So just stay strong, stay yourself, be the best version of yourself, and y'all have a good day. I hope this explains a little bit of what they call fence sitting nowadays. If being logical, rational, and reasonable apparently makes you a fence sitter, then I am a professional fence sitter, you best believe, and I am proud of it.